Oh, you're awake, little Sarah. I can hear you turning in your new bed. The satin is slippery, isn't it? Nothing like your cotton sheets at home. Shh, shh, don't fret. The restlessness will pass. You don't know me yet, do you? They call me Mr. Graves. I tend the cemetery. Have done for, longer than memory serves. Some children knew me before they came here, heard my name perhaps, whispered at windows on quiet nights. Others meet me for the first time when they wake in their new beds. Either way, I'm here now. I keep the children company when they can't sleep. It's what I do, you see. What I've always done. Settle back into your pillow. Yes, I know it's hard as Sunday bread, but try. Comfortable? No? Well, comfort is for the living, my dear. But stories are for everyone. This story is called The Candymaker's Daughter. Once upon a time, in a village where the church bells were made of butterscotch and the rain tasted of rose water, there lived a candy maker and his daughter. The candy maker was famous across 7 kingdoms for his impossible sweets. Toffees that turned your tongue into a rainbow. Humbugs that made you float 3 inches off the ground. Jellies that let you speak to butterflies. But his greatest creation was his daughter. He had made her, you see, one lonely winter night. He spun her from sugar glass and strawberry cream, gave her hair of pulled taffy and eyes of melted chocolate. He breathed life into her with the smoke from burnt caramel, and when she opened those chocolate eyes, she called him Papa. Her name was Dulcie. Sweet Dulcie, the villagers called her. She was perfect. Almost. For 3 years, Dulcie helped Papa in the shop. Such nimble fingers she had. She could pull taffy thinner than spider silk, roll truffles rounder than pearls. The children of the village loved her. They would press their faces against the shop window, watching her work, leaving little nose prints on the glass, like slugs leave silver. "Play with us," they would cry when she emerged at closing time. But Papa always said no. "She's delicate," he would explain. "She might melt." On her 4th birthday, for sugar daughters grow quickly, Dulcie discovered her hunger. The truth revealed itself with the blacksmith's boy. Round as a Christmas pudding he was, with cheeks like baked apples. He came for his weekly peppermint stick one Tuesday morning. "You smell delicious," Dulcie said. The boy laughed. "It's your shop that smells delicious." "No," she said, leaning closer. "It's you. Like gingerbread, fresh from the oven. That night, Dulcie had a curious thought. If the boy smelled like gingerbread to her, what would he taste like? And if she was made of sugar, what would sugar taste like to her? She crept to the candy jars and licked the lollipop. Salt, meat, iron. Oh, so this was what food tasted like. Real food. She looked at her sugar hands in wonder and understood. The boy who smelled like gingerbread. He would taste like gingerbread too. She smiled and went to bed, where she dreamed of gingerbread boys and marzipan girls, of feasts that played and dinners that laughed. The next night, she visited the blacksmith's boy at his window. "Psst," she whispered. "Do you want to try something special? Something no one else has ever tasted?" The boy, half asleep, came to the window. Dulcie held out a candy that sparkled like stars. "It's magic," she whispered, "but it costs something. Just your littlest fingernail. You won't even miss it." Children make such terrible bargains when candy is involved. The boy held out his hand. Dulcie's fingers, cold as peppermint sticks, took his littlest fingernail. It came off like picking a flower. Where it had been, a tiny candy pearl grew. She popped the fingernail in her mouth. It tasted of butterscotch and joy. The boy sucked on his star candy, eyes rolling back in bliss. "More," he whispered. "Please, more." "Tomorrow night," Dulcie promised. "Something bigger for something bigger." Night after night, the trades continued. A tooth for a rainbow drop, an earlobe for crystallized honey, a toe for a singing bonbon. The boy didn't seem to mind. The parts she took turned to candy on his body. A gumdrop toe, a toffee ear, teeth of peppermint sticks. He thought it was part of the magic. Soon, other children heard of the midnight candy trades. "My fingertip for that spinning sugar wheel. My nose for the eternal gobstopper. What would you give me for an eye?" Dulcie's hunger grew with each trade. Fingernails became fingers. Fingers became hands. The children didn't care. They walked through the village with candy parts, licking their own toffee fingers, sucking their own caramel knuckles, drunk on sweetness. The parents noticed, of course. How could they not? But when they tried to grab their children's candy hands, the children screamed as if burned. The parts were still somehow theirs, still attached, just changed. "What have you done?" they demanded of the Candymaker. But he didn't know. Not until he saw Dulcie one night, counting her collection. Jars and jars of what looked like candied fruits, but smelled of children. Preserved fingers like pink lady fingers. Pickled eyes like gumballs. Toes lined up like petit fours. "My darling," he said, "what are you eating?" "Only what I trade for, Papa. Fair and square." They get their candy, I get mine. She popped an ear into her mouth. It crunched like praline. The Candymaker realized his mistake. He'd made her from sugar, but forgotten to give her proper taste. To her, children were confections. To her, candy was meat. She was an inversion, a backwards girl, living in a world where sweetness and flesh had traded places. "We must stop this," he said. "But Papa," Dulcie said, chocolate eyes wide, "the children are almost complete. Look." She led him to the window. Outside in the moonlight, dozens of children wandered the streets. But they weren't children anymore. Not really. The blacksmith's boy was now made entirely of candy. A gingerbread boy with gumdrop eyes and licorice hair. The baker's daughter had become a marzipan doll. The teacher's twins were made of pulled taffy, stretching and reshaping with each step. "Soon they'll be all candy," Dulcie said dreamily. "And then I can eat them whole, like big walking birthday cakes." But candy children can't keep secrets. They melted a little in the rain, leaving sweet puddles that spelled out the truth. The parents found the evidence in rainbow streams running down the streets. They came that night with torches that smelled of burning sugar. They came with pitchforks and hammers ready to shatter. "Give us back our children," they cried. "But they traded," Dulcie protested. "Ask them. They chose candy over flesh." And horrifyingly, when asked, the candy children nodded. They would rather be sweets than meat. They'd tasted paradise and couldn't go back. The parents had a terrible choice: leave their children as candy, eventually to be devoured, or shatter them and lose them forever. The Candymaker made the choice for them. He grabbed his daughter and thrust her into the bonfire the mob had built. She screamed as she melted, her voice like whistling steam. The candy children screamed too, melting in sympathy, their sugar bones dissolving, their toffee hearts liquefying. When morning came, there were only puddles, rainbow puddles that reflected no faces. The parents tried to gather them up to save what they could. But how do you reconstitute a child from syrup? The Candymaker disappeared that night. Some say he drank his daughter's remains and became sweet himself, wandering the world as a candy man, forever hungry, forever wrong. And the children? Well, they say on hot days, when the sun beats down, you can still see them in the puddles. And if you taste rain after it falls through smoke, it tastes of burnt sugar and regret. But here's the real horror, little Sarah. Sometimes on very cold nights, those puddles freeze, and the candy children reform, just for a while. They knock on windows, trading pieces of themselves for things only they value now: a mother's tears, a father's gray hair, a baby's first tooth. They're still making trades, still hungry, just differently now. So if you ever see a child at your window with skin like spun sugar and eyes like gumdrops, don't trade with them, Sarah, no matter what they offer. Because once you taste that kind of sweetness, you'll never want anything else, and you'll become like them. There now, little Sarah. Better? The story's done. Your eyes are growing heavy, aren't they? That's good. That's very good. Sleep now, child. Let me sing you something. Something to help you rest. Hush now. Time for bed. Rest your weary little head. Dream forever. Dream so deep. In the ground. So dark and deep. Say good night before you sleep. Good nights are mine to keep. Sweet dreams. Well, sweet as they can be, 6 feet under.
Hush now, time for bed. Rest your weary little head. Dream forever, dream so deep. In the ground so dark and deep. Say good night before you sleep. Good night.